Unheard of.
Welcome back, everybody. Here we are, another week. It's your boys here at Unheard of. It's me, ABG, and right at the bottom of your screen if you're watching, good friend of the show, good friend just to us, we got that boy, Drew Nasty, as he likes to be called on Zoom.
Oh.
And it's going to be a good one. ABG, how are you doing this week, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. And if we're being real and honest, I feel like we should start a ABG days until he gets the vaccine, or days without vaccine.
Yeah, I mean,
I still have not gotten the vaccine yet. So.
People call me the conservative one on this show. I've been fully vaccinated for 3 weeks.
You know, I don't know. I don't think it's. I wouldn't definitely wouldn't classify it as conservatism. Oh, maybe it's just laziness. It's a free shot, and I know it takes like 15 seconds. Really, I don't know. I really don't want to have any of the side effects. Probably.
That's probably my main reason right now. I don't want to get that shot and be sick for a couple of days.
All of y'all are a bunch of babies. Like, literally, if you've gotten the flu shot before every year, it's virtually the same thing.
I've never gotten the flu shot.
Oh my god. Well, you definitely had to get it while we were in school because it was required.
I probably did, yeah. But, I mean,
I'll get the vaccine once our company makes it mandatory. If they make it mandatory, I'll get the vaccine. But if they don't make it mandatory, I ain't gonna get it.
Well, some places are like, what? They're incentivizing it, right? Like they're like.
Yeah, I was actually told at a Target and a Kroger that if you get the vaccine, you don't have to wear a mask no more.
Yeah.
But my question is, like, how are you going to prove to them that you're vaccinated? Are they going to say, "Hey, let me see your card"? You're going to be like, "Man, I left it at the house. I ain't got it on me."
Maybe it's honor based.
As soon as me and Tiff got the second shot, I scanned them and I shrunk them down to business card size, and then I laminated them. That way they fit in our wallets and we can just pull them out anytime.
Look at that. Jerod just being thinking ahead, you know.
I mean,
Venus.
I live in Colorado,
staying
so
ready.
Being asked if you're vaccinated is already becoming a normal thing.
Now, that's probably a more, stricter area for COVID than it is down here in the dirty South.
Dude, so the mask mandate was just lifted here finally, and the governor even said, like, we expect that if you're gonna go to events, the companies, the venues or whatever, like if you go to a concert, the governor said the venues have full authority to turn you away if you're not vaccinated, and tell you that you have to wear a mask if you don't prove your vaccination, like through the cards or whatever.
These are sporting events?
Sporting events, concerts, anything coming to the state this year. They said the governor's not going to make it mandatory, but if the companies say you have to be vaccinated to get in, then they can turn you away if you don't show proof or anything. I walked into Walmart yesterday without a mask for the first time in a long time, like over a year, and it just felt really weird. Like half of the people were still wearing masks in the store, but there was obviously some that weren't anymore because the mandate's over, and I'm like, well, I'm vaccinated anyways, so I mean, I'm good to go, right? According to all these experts.
Hey, according to Papa Fauci, bro.
Papa Fauci didn't even want us to be masked in the first place. If anybody recalls his statements when the pandemic began.
That's true.
That's true. Hey, wearing a mask won't help.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, wearing a mask helps.
And now all of a sudden, nothing helps.
Like, yeah, really, it's just airborne.
Well, like literally the CDC's come out and said, like, all this bull crap about sanitizing stations everywhere in the stores. They said they literally do not do anything to stop the spread of the virus, and they've basically just said everything that everybody's been doing, with the exception of, like, shutting down stores to 20% and all that. haven't really helped.
Yeah, man. Like I mean, maybe after they said the sanitizing stations don't help, some places got rid of them. Because I walked into Walmart today, and I looked at my hands. I was like, man, I was at work, and I was like, my hands are a little dirty. And I walked up to the woman up front, and I was like, yo, y'all got any hand sanitizer? She just looked at me dead in my eyes and said, no.
Dude, I should have taken a picture a couple weeks ago before the mandate ended, but people knew it was going to end soon. The
Yeah.
Walmart, now we're finally to a point where everything's trying to get back to like a normal, and
Yeah.
there was a whole display of like the Lysol wipes and everything that the off-brands made during the pandemic, to try and profit. And it said like sanitizing wipes was $4, now 50 cents, because nobody needs them anymore.
I mean, hey, they probably got way too much of them.
We need to save money on the sanitizer now because gas is getting so expensive. It took me over $40 today or yesterday to fill up my little Chevy Cruze that gets over 30 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, it took me like 44 to fill up the other day. So
$61 I filled up on this morning at Kroger. $61.
Hey, we can say what we want about Trump, but I miss the gas prices from the last administration.
Listen,
it was like 100% less than what it was last year.
% less. Boy, gas was free last year.
Shoot, it was at least like under $2 last year.
So, Jerod, let me ask you a question. Even though you're vaccinated, walking into a Walmart with no mask on, did you still feel like a sense of irresponsibility without wearing a mask? Like, could you feel people staring at you, even though you're vaccinated, but they don't know that?
No. No, nobody was really like staring me down. There was even some Walmart workers who weren't wearing a mask anymore.
A bunch of the associates at stores I've been going to, they don't even have it like tucked down like below their chin. They just ain't wearing it at all.
I mean, I've been doing my part this entire time. Like, mask mandate was in place. We've been wearing a mask. And even after it ended, we went into Walmart one night. This was before I went in there maskless, but this is how the kids are getting used to all this stuff, right? I take Jaden, my oldest, for those who don't know, but all the listeners probably know of the show. My oldest son, Jaden, I take him into Walmart because we had to get some things really quick one night. And he's like, Dada, you don't have your mask. I'm like, the mandate's over, okay? And I'm fully vaccinated. He's like, Dada, we need to wear our masks. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I will get my mask out of the car and put it on. So I went in there with a mask on because like Jaden is so used to wearing them now for school and every single store we go to. So he's like my, he's like the little policeman that's trying to keep us in check.
It's police.
So he's the little governor down here. Still enforcing masks in the house and all. Nice. Not in the house, but you know what I mean, the household. So while we got off on a little bit of a tangent there about masks and everything else, good old Drew Nasty said he had something to say at the beginning of the show.
There's something that's been on my mind for the past couple of weeks. Anybody that knows me knows my love for professional wrestling. You had a guest on here a couple of weeks ago by the name of Colton Evans that trash talked the acting of The Miz. How dare he have the audacity to talk about The Miz? That man, number one, is a fantastic wrestler. Number two is an even better actor.
I don't know why, but I felt like you were going to say an even better lover.
So I've been told. I mean, I don't know about from experience, but so I've been told.
Dude,
that's been on my mind. I just had to get that out there. Don't trash wrestlers.
Hey, obviously,
maybe one day we'll have both you guys on. You guys can have it out about The Miz
next week
and wrestling.
Next week.
Me and him.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to give it away or anything like that. I feel like I like having surprises, for the show.
I mean, it's not confirmed because
So-
there's been times where we've tried to get Colton on the show, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll be up," and then we send him the links, and he's just like dead asleep. Nobody hears from him until
true.
like the next day.
Or you get him on and he's only on for 2 minutes, and he goes, "Oh, this is it."
The very first episode,
Yeah, right.
dude. I don't know if I've said it on the show before, but behind the story of our first episode, we mostly wanted it to be just me and Arthur. Anyways, just because we were kind of laying the foundation of the show. But Colton kept bugging me about it. He's like, "Hey man, I want to be on. Like, I want to be on." Because at the time, our good buddies Uriel and Ethan were still producing episodes normally for the Thought Police. And they kept telling him he was going to get on. Or actually, I don't think they ever really said it. But Colton just kept wanting to be on. And so I finally just caved in. I was like, "Yeah, we'll bring you on." Well, when he joined, I acted like it was the end of the show. And he said, "Oh, this is it, right?" We stopped that conversation, and then we started a new one after that. That was I think we went for like 8 minutes because I told Colton, I was like, "Nah, that first one was a joke. We was talking about something different. We had to start a new conversation." So we talked for 8 minutes with him about whatever, Netflix I think was the topics, shows we were watching, stuff like that. And I started editing the show. I'm like, I'm just going to cut his whole part out. I'm going to leave like the last minute as like a joke.
He was happy about that too. For all I heard was, I'm the first guest on Unheard Of. Like, it's happening. I'm going to be on it. And I was like, "Hey man, I can't wait to hear your hot takes." And then I turned my phone on and all I heard was, "Oh, this is it."
Hey man, you gotta pull some pranks on him.
But I thought it was a perfect way to start the show with like something dumb and stupid like that. So, yeah, Colton's a good friend, obviously. Maybe he'll be losing my voice. Maybe he'll be on the show next week. Maybe he'll sleep in again. It's happened a couple times.
Yeah, who knows? And by the way, speaking of Colton, Drew, for our YouTube viewers, do you mind sliding out of the way so we can get a full scope of your background?
Hey,
Can you give us a little background about that picture?
This picture was taken on the Valentine banquet at Pine Bower Baptist Church. The big guy with the glasses, that's me, yours truly.
Hey, love to see it.
The fella in the middle, that's your guy right there, young without the O, Arthur Bryant Glass.
Yes, sir.
The guy in the front, that's obviously the brother of Jerod, that's Colton Evans. And then the dude in the back is actually my brother-in-law and a new father, Brandon Brame.
Oh, congratulations, Barry, on your new child. Congrats. Love to
He doesn't listen to the show, so he has no idea he just got mentioned on here. So
well, yeah, I know. Maybe we could let him know that he was mentioned. Maybe he'll tune in.
We'll cut a promo clip and send it to him.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I listened to last week's episode because Arthur texted me and said, "Hey, I gave you a shout out." I was like, "No, I gotta listen to it."
Yeah.
So
we God, and honestly, getting back to the wrestling thing, I haven't liked wrestling in a long time. Because
I was talking
huh?
to Drew the other day actually about when I stopped watching wrestling, and it was when I don't even remember his name, bro.
I don't remember, man. I know the people he was with was called the Fuckadactyls.
Yes. Hold on, wait. Let me look it up because I'm telling you, it was
Tyson something, I think.
That's what
Tyson,
I call.
Tyson something.
All I know is like the acting isn't terrible, but the wrestling acting has gotten a lot
really
worse because now you can just tell it's fake. When they're wrestling, you can basically see them picking up the blood packets and smothering over their face. Like, it's gotten really terrible.
Or like if you listen or watch a John Cena match, in the middle of his matches, you can hear him scream out loud. the next thing that the person should do to him. Like they'll be sitting there
But-
punching each other in the face, and he'll go whiplash. And
Bro,
like,
it's
see,
Brodus Clay.
I don't know if that's John
But
Cena's
Somebody
fault
call
though.
my mama.
John Cena's
Somebody
pretty
call my
dedicated,
mama.
you know.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
tried to play it, but you guys talked over it, so I guess I just.
Dang. All right, play it again.
Oh, well, okay. Somebody call my mama.
This guy.
Someone please call my mama. All right, that's all you got to get to that. That's all I got to get to that. But yeah, when that guy debuted, the weeks leading up to his debut on I don't know if it was Raw, SmackDown,
Yeah, it was raw.
but yeah, they had this guy hyped up like he was gonna be an absolute unit. I mean, which he was. I mean, he was big. He's a big guy, big wrestler. I mean, he was able to perform big boy moves. But I'm saying like they had him build up like he was gonna be like a disturbance to the force of the Raw. You know what I'm saying? He was gonna be something to a force to be reckoned with. You know. And then this fool comes out with and the Somebody Call My Mama song and stuff like that, bro. I think I was an adult by then. I was probably like 18. I was like, bro, I guess I'm too old for wrestling now, man. I don't know.
Bro,
I stopped watching it.
literally, so when I started hating wrestling was when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I couldn't stand that.
I mean, really, that was about the same time, because that was what, 2014?
Yeah, it was like 2015, 2016, 2014.
No,
And-
it was like 2014.
And honestly, y'all talk about John Cena like calling out the next moves. He never used to do that crap, but you know, apparently the new wrestlers are just so bad because I don't know if y'all seen that clip, but basically where he goes out and out promos Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns doesn't know how to talk to an audience like at all.
That's true.
That's basically John Cena breaking the fourth wall and telling Roman Reigns how to react to the audience because he doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know. They still bring in a lot of money though, right?
Yeah, I mean they bring in a ton of money, but that's mostly because they had. Okay, I'll take most of my saying back. When they re-rated it to where Raw was PG, I lost all interest because now it's catered to kids, which is how they make a ton of money. So, yeah, when it was like PG-13, man, those were the days. The storylines were good.
Jerod misses those bras and panties lumberjill matches is what it is.
Yeah,
I don't care about none of that crap.
Did you guys ever play those matches? Did you play those matches in the SmackDown versus Raw games?
Oh, absolutely.
I'll say this: there was one
Listen.
storyline.
Young with the O ABG, he was having a good time with the bra and panties matches.
Dude. There was a couple times though when it was the PG-13 that I thought, wow, I gotta fix my camera here. That I thought they were really about to cross some lines on TV, like Edge and Lita, that
Yeah.
whole thing. They did some crazy stuff on Raw, like they were like consummating their marriage in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
I was like, oh my god.
There was one
Yeah.
promo that they cut where Lita, before they put her with Edge, she was with Kane, and Kane apparently like impregnated her, and she didn't want the baby, and so they had like this baby doll wrapped up, and you couldn't see it; it was swaddled. And I don't remember if it was Kane or some other wrestler, but somebody punted the baby doll like it was a football into like the stands.
Dude. But some of those crazy storylines is what made it work, though, because like the whole Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio's son like matchup.
Oh yeah, the sun, the fighting for the sun, bro. That was sick. And you know, I guess we're just talking about wrestling now, but one of my favorite moments in wrestling is literally when they blew Vince McMahon up, bro, in his limo.
Dude, I
That was
loved
classic.
like DX's old bits with Vince McMahon too. Man,
Oh yeah.
like when it was just Triple H and Shawn Michaels, when they did the crazy stuff, like you know they would like bring Vince out and they would like pour crap all over them. Those were pretty funny.
Like,
Imagine how awkward it must have
sucks.
been for them on that episode where they killed Vince, and then later that week, Chris Benoit like actually kills his family, and then on the
Yeah.
next episode of Monday Night Raw, Vince McMahon has to come back out and address the crowd.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Like the only thing that sucks about that, like they had so much potential for that
Yeah.
story. You know what I'm saying? That storyline. Because
If they would have just waited a couple days, they
Show-
could have kept it.
Yeah.
they show who like blew the
It
They-
never got mentioned
was,
ever
I was saying,
again.
was it just a mystery?
It never got
Yeah.
mentioned after what happened in real life. That
Yeah.
never got mentioned again.
I would say because that storyline had potential, and then I just feel like they had to shoehorn it, bro. It got put on the back burner, man, because of the tragedy.
Like I said, if they would have just waited a few days for the real details to come out, they wouldn't have had to go
Yeah.
out there and praise Chris Benoit. They could have just kept everything going.
That's true. They went out there on Monday Night Raw and gave him like a bunch of tribute videos and like were praising him and talking about what a wonderful human being he was, and then come to find out he
Yep.
brutally murdered his wife and child. But
Yeah,
one more quick note about wrestling though before we venture into something else. Just want to give a quick shout out to Rey Mysterio and his son. This past Sunday, they become the first ever father-son duo to win the tag team championship. Shout out to
Yeah.
them.
And for any old fans of those days, that recent documentary that came out, I think it was on Vice, about Chris Benoit.
yeah,
That was actually really good. I watched
Yeah,
it.
it's
it
really
was. I think I watched the first episode when it came out. It was probably like last year or something like that. It was really good.
It's on
They
YouTube.
do.
I think there's only like
Mhm.
2 parts to it, and it was really
Yeah.
good.
But they do. It's a whole series called Dark Side of the Ring. They got them on the Owen Hart tragedy from the '90s, and I mean a bunch of other stories too. There are a bunch of good ones on there.
Yep.
Imagine like you are just trying to perform, dude, and then like tragedy strikes.
Or like being there as a small child and watching something
Yeah.
tragic happen.
I
Dude,
hate to see it.
before we get into that type of storyline, we got to save that for another day because there's a bunch of stuff you can talk about with like different tragedies and murders. I'm just going to go ahead and venture off. So, speaking of tragedies, I think Drew has a tragic NBA prediction that ABG was telling me about. And I'm just going to go ahead and let Drew talk about it because it's pretty wild and I don't think a lot of people share the same opinion.
Go ahead and tell them what it was, Arthur.
Hey man, my man Drew, I said it last week, I'll say it this week. He is under the impression that the Hawks are going to the finals. And he took it even a step further. Like today, I was talking to him about it, and he said they're gonna win the finals. Not only go to the finals, but they're gonna be champions. They're gonna be world champions.
Off of what
Absolutely.
basis do you think that's going to happen?
We see Trae Young's averaging 28.5 per game. You got a coach of the year, in my opinion, in Nate McMillan. I think people think that this series with the Knicks is going to go 7. I think the Hawks win in 5. And then they're going to play probably the Nets in the next series. And I think everybody's just so blown up about KD, Kyrie, and James. They've only played like 6 or 7 games together. We don't really know who they are. I think that's a 7-game series that ultimately Atlanta wins. And then they're probably going to wind up playing maybe Milwaukee or Philadelphia in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I think they're so young. They're so fast. They're great shooters. They play solid defense. I don't see anybody in the East stopping them personally. Half of that's a fanboy too. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I mean,
Well, here's the thing. Okay, I get the Nets perspective, but literally James Harden has played in 70% of those games, and they still were like the second ranked offense in the league without KD and Kyrie.
I'm gonna say,
So-
look, I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You know what I'm saying? You're acting like these guys aren't vets that you're talking about. Harden and KD, you know what I'm saying, and Kyrie, like they ain't no slouches. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a challenge if the Hawks face them.
And what about the 76ers? They're a
I
really
think
good team this year.
they're a really good team, but they ain't got nobody that can shoot the ball. I mean, I know that in playoffs it comes half set and, the three ball kind of falls out, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Atlanta shooting, and
Well,
they're so.
I'll say this. I think last week Arthur was talking about us facing the Knicks because we were the 4 or the 5, depending on how it was going to play out, and it was basically a guarantee that we were going to see the Knicks in the first round, regardless. And I'm pretty sure I predicted it was going to go 7, and I don't remember. I said it was going to be close, but I think the Hawks believer in me said the Hawks were going to take it. And after that, I don't know because I think the East is pretty tough this year. You still got Miami, Milwaukee, who I don't really trust, but I mean, hey, I think the East is tough. I don't know if I think Atlanta's got potential to make it to the conference finals, but I don't know if they really make it out of there.
Who's to
That's
say
what I'm
maybe if a
saying.
team like Miami plays the Nets, who's to say Miami won't put the Nets out? I mean, and
It's
then you could wind
possible.
up facing Miami in the second round instead of Brooklyn.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. But even if I put my cards on the table and the Hawks are facing like the Denver Nuggets or the Utah Jazz or the Phoenix Suns or the Los Angeles Lakers in the finals, right? I don't know if they can take any of those teams in 7 games.
See, I think that the toughest competition for them is going to be in the East. I think whoever it is, if it's Atlanta or whoever, I think an Eastern Conference team's winning the championship this year. I just think that there's not a true threat in the Western Conference. I mean, yeah, the Lakers, but I mean,
The
are
Lakers
they
have the number
really
one defense in the league.
are they really that good though? I mean, they just were in the play-in tournament. LeBron ain't played in over 2 months.
I know. I mean, they're getting their feet back, underneath them. So
I don't know. I mean,
they, man, if you were a betting man, if you bet on Phoenix to win that series, you could make a ton of money if they win
oh yeah, yeah.
because the Lakers are heavy favorites and it's never happened from a 7-2 seed.
It's okay.
Wow.
So LA is the 2 seed.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something about Trey. Since him and Luca were drafted together, it's always been, and they traded for Luca or traded for Trey rather. And they're always comparing them, and ESPN always shows Luca love. This series against the Knicks could either prove the Trey Young doubters right or wrong. Nobody on a national level has ever really seen him play. He's about to go and play all these prime time ESPN TNT games. If Trey goes out there and scores 10, goes 10 and 8 for assists, people are going to say, "We told y'all he's not ready for the stage. He needs to
Yeah.
develop." Or he could come out there and go 35-10, and people be like, "Whoa, like this team's really good. This is a really good player." I think the spotlight is on Trey, especially in the first round. I love the fact that
Yeah.
they play New York.
First round, I mean, of course, the pressure's going to be on Trey. I mean, it's going to all fall on Trey. But I mean, I said last week. I mean, I feel like I said it last week. But the Hawks got depth. You know what I'm saying? Their bench has the potential to
Them and Pepaloo.
crazy points. You know what I'm saying? Because they've had to step up during this run that they had. After the All-Star break, the bench really stepped up and won a lot of those games too. So.
And
Okay.
this was a crazy stat. Mike Conti of 92.9 The Game said this a couple of weeks ago. The true starting five of Atlanta, which is Trae Young, Bogdan, DeAndre, John, and Clint, have only played a total of 7 minutes together this entire season.
Yeah.
Our true starting five has only been together for 7 minutes of this entire season.
It's crazy.
I mean, I don't know why, and I think I've said this over the course of the past couple weeks. Why has our GM, Travis Schlenk, not given Nate McMillan a full contract? The man,
It's crazy, right? He
Does-
deserves it. He
yeah,
deserves it.
clearly he can coach. I mean, he was always coaching Indiana to the playoffs every single year with and without PG. So,
Mhm.
in my opinion, he's already showed me that he deserves at least a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you think they're trying to wait and see what he does in the playoffs? What if he comes out here and gets swept by New York? Would you feel the same way and want him back next year just because he, turned it around in the regular season, but he got swept in the first round? Would you still feel that same way that he deserves it?
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I would feel like he deserves it because I mean, coming from, of course, like having been the pandemic, I'm saying still going on, and not being able to practice a lot, not having you, like you said, you're starting five. I have only played 7 minutes, and I'm sure none of that was under Nate McMillan. So, I mean, he's proven that he can take that team and turn it around. So, I mean, I would give him the job.
I'll say this: other coaches get credit for being "quote unquote" offensive geniuses,
Yeah.
but a lot of flaws are showing in other coaches. Like Steve Kerr was supposed to be a mastermind, right? But now that his team isn't loaded anymore, it's not so good. And now that
Yeah.
the Celtics don't have a lot of stars, Brad Stevens doesn't look too hot either. I'll tell you what, I've seen Nate McMillan coach in a couple different places with not a lot of stars, and he keeps making playoffs. Nate
Yeah.
McMillan is one of those offensive and defensive, really, masterminds at coaching. He's an excellent coach, and our GM, he drafts really well, but I think he makes
Travesty.
awful personnel decisions because Lloyd Pierce needed to be let go much sooner than he got let go.
How
So-
much of a fool does Lloyd feel like? Like he's sitting at home watching TV, filing unemployment, and the team that he ran into the dirt, he's watching them go to the NBA playoffs. Like he's got to feel like the biggest fool.
Dude, they literally.
I hope he does.
I saw a story, Travis Schlink, when they were interviewing coaches and they hired Lloyd Pierce. Their assistant GM, I don't know the name. It's already off the top of my head, but the assistant GM was going to Travis, and he's like, how will we really know who's the guy for our team? And Travis was just like, you'll know. Don't worry about it. You'll know. And then during the interview for Lloyd Pierce, he wrote down on a piece of paper and slid it over to his assistant GM and said see, I told you you'd know. And I was like, it sounds like you thought you knew, but the other guy didn't really have an opinion. And
That's insane.
I was like, see, that's why I'm wary of this guy because the personnel decisions have not been great lately. Nate McMillan has the second best record after the All-Star break, which is when he took over. So
Yeah.
I think on paper alone, he deserves at least 3 years to, prove to Atlanta what he can do.
What do you think
Yeah.
they do with John Collins? If they bring him back, it is a super max.
So
There's
I was
no way.
saying that's got to be a max deal,
It's
right?
a super max. Do they bring
But-
him back?
I
He
don't
needs
want to
to show-
super
he's to
max
prove- he's to
Collins,
prove-
man.
He needs to
'Cause
prove
I
in
know-
this series, in this playoffs, if they go further than that he deserves the money. You know what I'm saying? Because
I
if
know
he,
how Jerod. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, because how he was pretty much, saying that he deserves this max contract, this max money. I mean, you gotta prove yourself useful, right? And then if you don't, then what teams are going to sign you for that max that you want to be shopped around to? So
I think I know how Jared's going to lean towards this decision because I know how he feels about players taking up a big lump sum of
No.
teams' salaries.
No, totally different. Because my views are different when it comes to the NFL and NBA. I don't like when a quarterback in the NFL can take over $40 million a year like an NBA player and take up basically almost half of your cap because then the rest of the team is limited and there's got to be 52 other guys to help get you to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's totally different. In the NBA, there's only 15 people on a team. It's much more manageable, right? Because we see super teams taking 3 or 4 guys with the max all the time. So when it comes to the NBA, I don't really care. But does the player deserve a max contract? I think since we have Collins on a rookie deal, we have bird rights on him, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe
Which
so.
means we could let him walk around, right? See what type of offers he's going to get. And all we have to do is match the highest offer because nobody else is going to pay him a supermax.
Yeah.
exactly.
And I don't think we should. I don't think he's
If
worth
he-
the supermax.
I was about to say if like I said, like if he's worth it, he's got to prove he's worth it.
Trey
I think it's
Young
going to be.
is early, but I'm saying he's going to be our supermax guy, right? Trey Young is going to get that supermax contract, but John Collins, I feel like he's like a tier under that level. He's not right at the superstar yet, you know? Like he's still got to prove himself, you know, as one of those guys.
That's true.
And he was complaining about the offense earlier this year. He was
He was
like,
complaining about Lloyd Pierce's offense.
I mean, I guess that's true, but he was really complaining about Trey Young too, because he was like, man, he's like, Trey just gets the ball all the time. Like we're just running Trey's offense. I'm like, what?
Well, I don't think Trey or John verbally come out and said it, but I think it was pretty much an unspoken thing in the locker room that Trey hated Lloyd. Like he had so much disrespect for Lloyd as a coach that was why earlier in the season Trey was playing like garbage. I mean, it really was. I mean, it was nights where he'd have 12, 13, 14 turnovers, and you're like, this just ain't the same guy. Like, what's going on? Nate takes over, and he respects Nate. You know, Nate's got his jersey is hanging in the rafters for an NBA team. I mean, so I think the players respect Nate a lot more than they do Lloyd, and that's why the offense looks good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is. I hate that some players won't give other coaches respect anyways, if that's true.
Yeah.
But obviously, I don't care what happened before. Nate McMillan he's got to be our guy. I don't think we're going to find a better coach, like, looking right now.
Yeah.
So
if we don't sign him, he's going to go somewhere else and become coach of the year next year.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, hey, Drew says the Hawks are going to win a chip. I don't think so. I think we probably still...
I guarantee it.
All right. I think we still got at least a couple years, and we need, like, another solid piece in our lineup.
Take it to the bank.
All right, man. All right. We'll keep that in
2021
mind.
champs, we win.
So I mean, yeah, hey, we can go ahead and move on. We'll stay in some sports, and let's talk about Timmy Tebow. So, our man Timmy Tebow has signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you follow sports, you know that Urban Meyer is the head coach of the Jaguars now. Also the head coach of the Florida Gators when Tebow was playing and won a national championship and a Heisman for him. So, but the strange thing is after he was asked to move to tight end years ago and refused, all of a sudden he is trying to make the change.
Why? Why though? Why? I don't know. Why is he coming back to play football again? And why was it so easy to get on a team playing a position that he's never played it before?
I just told you why it was easy. Because he's got a personal relationship with the head coach. And it's also his hometown.
I get it. I mean, I get that. But I'm saying though, like, is he and he's NFL ready, basically is what they're saying. And he's gonna go out there and do a good job.
Shoot. Probably not.
Exactly. Like, that's why I'm asking. Why put him on this team? Why?
Because
you just got a really good number one pick, and Trevor Lawrence. You got a great quarterback, right? According to Drew, who was NFL ready in high school. So you got all that attention. Why bring more attention to yourself?
Well,
getting this washed up quarterback that only lasted 2 or 3 seasons in the NFL, and
first of
he's
all,
a tight end, not a quarterback.
No.
Okay,
First of all,
he's a tight end.
Let's not speak the Tebow slander, okay? Because here's what I'm gonna say about his reign as a quarterback. Tebow much like Colin Kaepernick, got blacklisted for something dumb, which was his religion, of all things. Just the fact that he showcased his Christianity, he got blacklisted. And I'm not even like a big believer anymore, okay? I'm just saying this is why he got blacklisted. He won a playoff game for the Denver Broncos. And obviously Peyton Manning comes to town, who is a way better quarterback. I agree, obviously Hall of Famer. So they shipped Tebow off to New York. So Tebow's stats were not as awful as people think they were as a quarterback. People just didn't like him, right? Because he goes to New York and Rex Ryan is promising he's going to get a fair shot at the job. Never gets a fair shot at the job. And then all of a sudden, after he wins a playoff game, he has to start going to training camps to fighting for a spot in like New England and Philadelphia. I'm like, this dude is a first-round pick who won a playoff game as a quarterback. People get way more chances with less in the NFL. Like, regardless of their color of skin, I think Tebow got a bad shot just because of him being able to showcase his religion.
But I feel like that should have kept him inside of the NFL even more, right? Like the NFL could have made him their poster boy, dude. Like what? The fans. I feel like the fans of the NFL are mostly probably. You know what I'm saying?
The NFL fans are mostly Christians, but they're also the same dudes who cuss right out as soon as they get outside the church. Like these are all the biggest hypocrites, right? So.
But that's what they want to see. I feel like that would be what they want to see.
I'm telling you, I think nobody liked Tebow from the beginning just because of that reason, and he never got a fair shot.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like Tebow is a likable guy. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, right? Because there's a lot of quarterbacks that get to stay in the NFL for doing way less.
I mean, for goodness sakes, Brock Osweiler made like $50 million from like 4 different NFL franchises. And you're telling me that he's worth more than Tim Tebow?
I mean, Ben Roethlisberger rapes people, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying, though. Like, it's like, I mean, I don't know. I think the NFL hates people that draw a lot of attention to themselves. So that's why, like, Kaepernick is getting blacklisted, because there's still people kneeling in the NFL. They just know that Colin Kaepernick draws that biggest headline. So he's been blacklisted out of the NFL. Tebow practically was until Urban Meyer, became a head coach.
It's just weird to me. I feel like for Urban Meyer to be in the NFL as a first-time new head coach, you would think he wouldn't want that many eyes on his team.
No.
In his first year.
Here's a conspiracy, right? Because as you've stated and you've pulled out the correct facts before, on me, because I've been wrong about this. Trevor Lawrence, right, has not lost a single season game since his sophomore year?
No, he's never lost a single regular season game ever.
Okay, so
high school, college, never.
So he's never lost a regular season game in his career, right? But the Jaguars were 1-15 last year. So you're expecting that he's not going to be that good this year as he's adjusting to the NFL. He's probably going to lose some games. So a lot of people
lose some games.
So a lot of people are going to be talking about that hype train that everybody had on him, right?
Yeah.
The perfect way to get off that is to sign somebody like Tim Tebow.
What?
Oh man!
No way, bro. Listen, and you're talking about how Tebow could have definitely stayed in the NFL, right?
Well, if he was given a fair shot.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying he was going to be like an elite
tight end.
I'm not saying he was going to be an elite starting quarterback, but I mean, are we saying that Tebow couldn't have been a feasible backup or even sitting third string?
Yeah, he could have. Yes, he could have been a nice backup. But I'm saying, why bring him back as a tight end?
Well, because here's my thinking: you just got the number 1 pick in the draft, Trevor Lawrence, who's your quarterback, obviously. So you're not going to sign Tebow to be a quarterback. People would have blasted him if he signed Tebow as a quarterback because that's basically how he got kicked out of the league for staying at quarterback.
Yeah.
And people were begging him to try a different position like tight end. So I think that's where Urban Meyer gets off. He's like, and maybe he's thinking, oh, I can justify it because now he wants to make this change and try and stay in the NFL. Drew even mentioned another conspiracy where he's like a year or maybe a couple games away from where Tebow could actually earn his player's pension.
Yeah, I believe it was sometime this year he was eligible for the player's pension. So I felt like Urban Meyer was like,
Oh, yeah,
come on down to Jacksonville. I'll take care
come
of
on, baby.
I'll take care of it.
We'll get that money, Mr. Christian boy, baby. We'll get you that money, baby.
I mean, but literally,
he making no money being an analyst, bro.
He was also
making more money.
Baseball player.
Yeah, so that's what's confusing about it, right? Because as an analyst for the SEC network, he was making more than the veterans minimum, as a new tight end in the NFL. So it's weird. I think.
Hey, he's just chasing his dreams, bro. He just wants to be a football player, man. Come hell or high water, you're gonna be a football player, I guess.
It's just weird because his story isn't like anybody else's, right? Because he was not a terrible quarterback. That's a false narrative. He wasn't a terrible quarterback. But, you'll hear stories all the time about players that switch positions. Julian Edelman was a quarterback before he became a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. And the only reason he became a wide receiver was because in New England, I believe, they saw him... No, I'm sorry. At his college, they saw him, and his ability to catch. So they asked him to start taking plays as a receiver. Same thing happens in the NFL. Taysom Hill is not a quarterback. For the New Orleans Saints, he was a tight end.
Yeah, I know.
And they saw his ability to throw a couple passes. They're like, hey, why don't you try to, be a quarterback? But that didn't happen with Tebow. There's no stories about him, lining up at tight end in practice, catching a few balls here and there. They just thought because of his size, hey, you should be a tight end.
Imagine this storyline right here. It's week 8, week 9. Trevor Lawrence has done popped his ACL like Joe Burrow because they don't have an offensive line. Gardner Minshew, his last start, threw 5 interceptions, and Urban Meyer's like, I got this guy in the next room that he can step in and throw. And Tim Tebow comes in and throws 5 touchdowns, 600 yards, and then just leads them to the promised land. Could you imagine?
Dude.
No
one could question the existence of God if Tim
I'm going to say, bro,
that.
listen, bro. We all have to be God-fearing if that happens, bro. It's destined.
Number 85 steps in at quarterback.
But
Trevor Lawrence goes down. Oh, what is this? Urban Meyer has elected not to bring in Minshew. He's got Tebow. Dude, and honestly, Tebow was a pretty good dual threat when he was playing for the Broncos because the whole Tebow time, he was pretty good at rushing the ball too. I said, I think he got a bad beat and got kicked out of the league for virtually nothing. And I think it's dumb that he's coming back as a tight end, but hey, he's got that relationship with the coach, and now he can try and earn that pension.
Relationship with the coach, relationship with God, bro. He's got it all.
I wonder, it's just hard to imagine. Tim Tebow had a top 5 all-time college career for a quarterback to just come in the NFL and just be looked at as a below-average quarterback. Maybe he was, I don't know, but I'm just saying his college career spoke differently. Clearly he's got the championship.
Oh yeah,
didn't he win a Heisman?
What was his stats? What was his stats in there?
Dude, I don't have his stats on me, but all I know is he came in his rookie year and he won 8 straight games or something like that and won a playoff game.
Yeah,
dude, Google still has him as a former football player, dude. He's on.
I mean, literally, how do you go from winning a playoff game as a quarterback to being looked at as a bust?
And they didn't play like a little scrub team. I believe the playoff game they won was Pittsburgh. It was
Yep.
in Denver, but I believe it was Pittsburgh that they
Yep.
played and beat. Tim Tebow hit a slant to a former Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. Shout out to Demarius Thomas.
It's true. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I think Tim Tebow gets a bad beat in the media and by the NFL as a quarterback because I never thought he was terrible. There's other starting quarterbacks that, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're worse than Tebow, but I always thought Tebow kind of deserved a shot. I still think Colin Kaepernick deserves a shot.
Didn't Washington start a practice squad wide receiver last year because of COVID?
Denver, actually.
It was a Denver. It was Denver,
Yeah.
wasn't it? A
Because-
practice squad wide receiver.
Because all their quarterbacks literally popped on the COVID protocols
Yeah.
because they were all not wearing masks and everything in the facilities.
Yeah. That guy come in, didn't he go like 0 for 11? Like a
Dude,
couple
it was-
interceptions. I mean, it was bad.
And you know
Oh
what
my
people
God, that's
said?
brutal.
If the Saints were facing like another big team that week, like say the Saints were going up against the Bucks and Tom Brady wasn't able to play from COVID, they said the NFL would have rescheduled that game. You know, it's just because
Oh,
it was
the
like the
playoff game?
Broncos. Yeah, they said it was just because it was like the Broncos and everybody thought it of a meaningless game.
Yeah.
I mean, which it basically was, but I mean, hey, I think I might get to see a Broncos game this year. Finally allowing fans in the stands instead of the whole South Park community.
Mm.
I want to go see a Falcons game this year. So I don't know. Drew,
Well, you and Colton were talking about trying to go to that game on September the 12th. Unfortunately, that just so happens to be the day after I get married. So,
yeah, but it's also your friend Colton's birthday. So.
it's the day after my wedding.
You getting married on 9/11?
Can't forget it.
That's true. That's true.
Dang.
We got a good discount at the wedding venue. That's all I'll say.
Lord.
Well, he got the 9/11 deal, bro.
I'm trying to tell you.
Have you guys ever seen that? Is it a toilet paper commercial? Or it's a commercial for a store or something like that? It's a really bad commercial. And they're doing a 9/11 World Trade Center Twin Tower deal.
Oh, God.
And this woman is talking about getting your Twin Tower deals and all that stuff. And then at the end, these two guys are standing up
Ah.
these it might have been a furniture store, but they were setting up against some cushions or something, and she just like knocks them down.
Come on.
Yo, really bad commercial, but also look it up.
Bro, that's crazy. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it's weird. Tebow wins a playoff game. He goes to New York, plays one snap, and that's like the rest of his career.
I mean, for God's sakes, Mark Sanchez ran into the rear end of his own offensive lineman and still had a job after that.
Yeah, that's got to be the funniest play of all time. Still, it was on Sports Center's like unfunniest top 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
It was on it for so long that they just had to retire it because it kept getting voted for like over a year every single week.
It's the dumbest play in the history of the NFL. He's probably made more money off of that incident than he's made in his entire football career.
He laughs it off too. Like he's a pretty good sport about it. Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
He's a great TV personality. He at least he takes it with a chip on his shoulder.
Do you think if that would have happened in any other media market, it would have blown up like that, or do you think because it happened in New York? I mean, for something like that to happen in New York, even if it is the Jets, I mean that's still a big deal.
Dude, if it was the Jacksonville Jaguars, if Gardner Minshew ran into his offensive lineman's butt last year, it would have made ESPN for 1 week, and that would
Yeah.
have been it.
Yeah.
But New York, I mean, they say that's where all the headlines are made, obviously, so that probably has something big to do with it. I mean, technically, a lot of USC quarterbacks are still god awful, and they still get shots over Tim Tebow, and they get praised like they're the greatest quarterbacks when they come to the draft.
That's true. I think the only good USC quarterback in the last 20 years was Carson Palmer, and he made like 2 Pro Bowls. I don't think he ever won a playoff game. I mean,
Mark Sanchez, 2 AFC championship games, got beat by the
Yeah.
Patriots, but
yeah.
I think when it comes to like college football and the NFL, I have 2 big problems. The first problem is that Notre Dame is seen as like the greatest team every year, and then they get blown out in the playoffs. Like yeah, we all expected that. I don't know what the analysts are thinking every year when they put Notre Dame up there. And the second thing is USC quarterbacks always get favored in the draft for no good reason because their teams are always god awful. Like they're still living in the past from like 20 years ago.
That's what happens when you play for LA, baby.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, this has been a nice sports podcast for the most part, and I'm gonna go ahead and venture off of that because I got a story to tell this week. My wife Tiff, she has graciously been trying to get me a PS5 as of late. Even myself, I've been trying to get me a PS5 in the past couple weeks. It is extremely tough to get one right now. There is supposedly a chip shortage, which means it's much harder to get a gaming console right now than it was when they first launched last year. And, this past week, there was a day when Sony and Walmart both restocked the PS5 on the same day. Well, Walmart restocks it. I get the PS5 in my cart, and I keep clicking checkout, and it's like error occurred. And I'm like, oh my god! I was like, it's in the cart. Take my money. And literally, error kept being placed until finally it said, this item is out of stock. It's been put in your saved for later. I was extremely upset. And then we saw that Sony was actually doing a drop. So you have to get put in like a queue where you kind of wait for 20, 30 minutes, whatever. I had probably 2 or 3 tabs open, but it was during some off time at work. Literally, I had about 3 minutes left in line for the queue, and I had to go do something at work. So I knew I wasn't going to get it, but Tiff was in line for it, too. I come back, and obviously PS was like, you lost your place, you left, whatever. So I was like, yeah, I was at work, so had to do what I had to do. Tiff, she had it on her phone, and that place got lost. She also had it on her laptop, right? But it was still saying like she had like an hour wait, and she had to go pick up Jaden from school. She gets back, and it says she was actually selected to get one. But since she wasn't there, we wasn't able to get it. And, man, because GameStop also did a drop this past week. Of course, they only sell bundles. So I was like, you know what? Fine, we'll be willing to spend the extra money. I'll get a PS5 digital bundle so it'll still be cheaper. No big deal. Well, GameStop's got this weird thing where they make it difficult to get one. You have to check and uncheck the warranty plan and keep trying to add it into your cart. And I never got it. The add to cart button kept coming up. It never got in my cart. And yeah, it's extremely frustrating because it is now 8 months, I think, into the release of these next-gen consoles. and we are having a huge time or difficult time getting these things. I'm like, oh my god, can they not just stop production on these chip factories? Or no. They don't have to stop production in the chip factories. Just stop selling the consoles for 2-3 months. Let production catch up, and then we can start selling them again, where everybody has a shot. But no, I think Microsoft and Sony love that the demand is so high and that it's difficult to get one. So I'm almost at the point where I don't think I want to get one anymore, boys, because it's been heartbreak, because I've actually been trying to get one the past couple weeks and haven't been able to.
I mean, first off, top tier rant. You know what I'm saying? That was a really good rant. But yeah, the PlayStation's there. We'll get one in due time.
Well, I want one right now because
Some
that
peeps are
that
some peeps are have already gotten theirs. You know, some people already gotten theirs.
that Returnals game looks really good, but it's a
Oh,
PS5 exclusive, and the fact that it pisses me off even more now is Sony came out like a week or two ago, and they said that their studio is coming up with like 28 more exclusive games or something like that, but it's only going to be for the PS5, and none of us can get our hands on one. How am I supposed to buy these games if I can't play them?
Look, I'd love to sympathize with you, but I'm still playing a PS3.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, I mean, it's not about the system for everybody, because our good friend Drew over here,
If it's any
plays his
consolation,
PS3 religiously.
you still have GTA 5 on the PS3. So
I played GTA 4 on the PS3. That's what I played.
Did you really like GTA 4 that much, bro?
he really does.
The sliding cars.
He talks about this all the time, that GTA 4 is like better than 5.
Yeah,
It's my favorite video game ever. I have to have played through the story mode at least 30, 35 times at this point in my life.
30 times, wow, bro.
At least over a course of the first gen PS3, the Xbox 360. Then I got the new generation PS3 when it come out a couple years ago. I mean, it has to be. It has to be. I play it. I try to play it at least the story once a year. Once a year, I play the game.
That's respectable, man. I don't know. There's no games that really revisit like that. I mean, I have favorite games and stuff, but I don't know, man. You're a
I'll get I'll get the PS5 when the new EA college football game drops. When that game drops, that's when I'll get a PS5.
Dude,
What you gonna say? I'll get the PS5 when the GTA 4 remake comes out.
I'm just like so upset, because I'm literally in my off time. I'm like watching these live streams. I'm following all the tweets. Like, I'm like, how am I not able to pick one up? Like, I said it's, and the retailers make it so difficult with like the errors that go on in your carts and everything, that it's just so depressing to try and even attempt to get one right now. It's like the Fisherman, the State Farm or Progressive meme, whatever. It's like, you almost had it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
You gotta be quicker than that.
yeah. I'm just like, yeah, I almost had
Who
it.
kn- who knows, man? Maybe Santa Claus hears your request, and as long as you're a good old boy, you might get one for Christmas.
I mean, they're saying this
A
chip
good
shortage
old
is
boy.
probably going to make it difficult to buy the Xbox or PS5 into next year.
Okay, we'll get one next Christmas then.
Yeah. I mean, it's already May. Look at how difficult it is to buy one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm the only one that's really trying to get one right now out of this group. So it's frustrating.
Yeah. I'm not trying to wait till like maybe next year. Actually,
My
dies down after all.
my whole plan was I knew I didn't want one when it first released because I wanted to probably wait for all the bugs and everything to get like conked out.
Yeah.
But now, like a couple weeks ago, I'm like, all right, it's been like over 6 months. Like they've probably got everything figured out. And so I started trying to actively get one, and I've been out of luck.
when I do decide to get a PS5, I refuse to get GTA 5 for the PS5. Like, I refuse to give Rockstar money
Well,
for Grand Theft Auto 5.
I've got it digitally on my PS account. That's how I bought it the last time I got it. So I'm expecting that I can just transfer it over for free
Yeah, you probably can. I mean,
through my PSN.
yeah, but
Because Rockstar's not getting my money either until they come up with another Red Dead Redemption or GTA 6.
well, tough luck, partner, because you're gonna be waiting for a long time for another Red Dead Redemption.
I just
I'm
still can't
also
believe when we talked about it on the show, when they announced the PS5, or when they announced the PS5 and Rockstar came out with that announcement, it was like coming to PS5, and it was like a promo for GTA 5 again. I was like, you
Yeah.
have got to be kidding me. Can they not just drop a trailer that says they're working on a 6? Like, you could literally drop a trailer that says you're working on 6, and people would give you 2 to 3 years to release it.
yeah.
But I mean, that's not. I don't know. That's not Rockstar fashion. You know what I'm saying? They show off a game and then it comes out within the next like year.
Dude, Red Dead Redemption 2 got delayed for more than a year after we saw footage.
A word. Their month.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't care. It is what it is, but they're gonna have to keep beating that cash cow on the younger kids because I'm not buying it anymore.
All these kids out here are getting their mama's credit cards and buying these little shark cards for GTA Online.
Yeah.
Shark cards.
So I mean, hey, it is what it is. That's just my spiel for the week. We're possibly gonna have a pretty good show for you all next week. I think Drew's gonna try and return for us, so it's gonna be a good show. The 1-year anniversary of our show is coming up around June 12th or 13th, I believe. Probably going to do something special for that. And I'm traveling for work, so if I don't do a virtual background next week, just know that, I'm going to be doing the show from the DC area.
Nice.
So, yeah, good stuff going on. And I'll just go ahead and get into my closing thoughts as we get right here at the end. If you're vaccinated, don't wear a mask anymore. But for those of you that aren't vaccinated, wear a mask, right? Because I know
That's
there's
my thing, bro.
some people on this show keep telling us to wear a mask and they haven't got their vaccine yet, even though
I mean,
some of us have.
because you don't have your vaccine yet. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now I'm telling people, don't wear a mask if you get the vaccine. But no. I'm really looking forward to a great summer. It looks like sporting events are going to be, back at it again. You can start going places like concerts and all that. Bands and like comedians are starting to go back on tours again. So, yeah, looking forward to a great summer and having life get back to normal. Drew? Or ABG?
1 second. I'm so sorry. I just had a random thought. Who's gonna be the first? Who's gonna be the first news publication that prints with just the big title, "America's Back"?
CNN.
New York Times.
CNN will print it immediately as Biden says it.
You're right.
So, and then Fox will have a counter headline, "America's not back," and that's how it'll
Or
go.
they'll say America's been back.
Yeah, America was back 2 years ago when we had Trump in office. So yeah, I mean, Drew, you got any closing thoughts?
I just want to say success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out.
Oh, nice. Getting philosophical.
I like that. Is there anywhere where the people can find you, Drew?
I am on Twitter. I've actually done a revamp of my Twitter profile, so I'm no longer the real one. You can find me on Twitter at Drew Nasty.
We'll get into that story another time too, where we can bring the people involved
Listen,
with that
listen,
rebranding.
you'll have to put us two inside the squared circle, if you know what I'm saying.
There we go, baby. That's
I
what I
will
like to
drive.
see.
I'm going off. Hey, I'm a big boy here is going off the top rope on that.
Yes, sir. Somebody call my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Jerod Evans.
Also, I'm sorry. Follow the Unheard Of fan page on Facebook.
All right. I'm glad. Is that still going on?
Hey, you looking at the creator, bud.
That's awesome. I don't know. Closing thoughts from me. I was gonna say wear a mask, but I don't know, man. It's crazy times we're living in.
I'm gonna start flashing it now that you said it.
People don't wear masks.
When we get to the closing thoughts, there's gonna be a flashing minute, like a number on the screen, like 3 weeks since Arthur said he hasn't got the vaccine.
Yeah, probably. Like I'm telling you, but yeah, I still wear my mask, so because I don't have my vaccine. So you can find me on Twitter at young without the O _ABG. You can find us on Twitter at unheard _pod. That's going to be the same on Instagram, Facebook. You know, unheard of. Search us up. YouTube. Follow a link. You know the spill. You know the spill. And of course, thank you everybody for listening to us. You know, we're averaging about 10, 15 listeners an episode. You know what I'm saying? So we're very, very, very thankful for you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it used to be about 2, so you know.
Yeah, we found our following.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We got a nice, steady group that listens to us.
And we got a special treat this week for you. We got a nice and long episode for you.
It's true. It's a goodie. And
of course, thank you to Drew as well.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure. I can't wait, and I'm looking forward to being on here next week. The fearsome foursome.
That's true.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Oh, but we gotta, of course, watch A Quiet Place Part 2. Like, that's
yes.
Yeah. Colton has already informed me that he's going out of town next weekend, so it looks like I'll have to be watching that movie by myself, unless you want to go with me.
Yeah. Might as well.
Let's do it.
People are back at the movies, right?
Yeah, we went to the movies last weekend.
What'd you go see?
Spiral.
Oh, you already saw it? I'm gonna go see Spiral. So bad. Was it good?
Hey, I didn't realize Chris Rock had that kind of acting in him. I mean, to go from Grown Ups and movies like that with Adam Sandler to a movie
he's
like
done
that.
Serious stuff.
Yeah, well,
I'll say this. You guys might not know it, but literally, I think comedic actors have the most range because, especially good comedic actors, because it actually takes like work to make people laugh. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of those people who transition into like more dramatic roles, they typically do a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is like a bonus conversation.
It's true.
Yeah.
But as we're running low on time, we're gonna go ahead and thank everybody for listening. And obviously, we'll have Drew back on next week. Hopefully, one more person will join us, and it's gonna be another goodie. So, as always, we love you, we hear you, and we hope you hear us here at Unheard Of.
And as always, I'm Arthur.
And I'm Jerod, and you just listened to
Unheard Of.